I wanna describe the fire from the inside, because most descriptions are from the outside. Looking at the result and saying what a beautiful thing, without describing what the becoming cost. The fire does not feel like refinement. When you are in it, it feels like destruction. It feels like the specific removal of things you needed or thought you needed, which is almost the same experience as losing things you actually needed. And I wanna be clear about that before I get to the silver, because the silver only means something if you understand that the getting to it required everything that was covering it to be burned. And I had things covering me that I had mistaken for me, and the fire was very precise about the difference. And now I wanna tell you about Malachi 3:3, which says he will sit as a refiner, watching, not walking away, not setting the timer, sitting with the specific attention of someone who knows exactly what they're doing and when to stop.
The fire knew my name,
because the one who lit it told it what to keep and what to remove.
I knew my name.
It was not random destruction, it was specific refining, and the refiner was sitting watching the whole time.
The fire knew my name.
And when the silver appeared, he stopped.
He stopped.
He stopped.
He stopped.
In the fire, I found out what I was made of, underneath what I thought I was made of, and the two things were not the same. I found out that some of what I call faith was preference performing this faith, and preference burns quickly, the real faith was underneath it. And I didn't know it was there until the preference was gone, and what remained was something I didn't build, something older, something that was placed before I arrived and was still there after everything I added to it was removed. And the refiner knew the difference between the two, which is why the fire was precise. It removed what was added and left what was placed, and what was placed was purer than I thought when I finally saw it, without the layer of what I had been carrying over it. The
fire knew my name.
The refiner was sitting, watching when the silver appeared.
He stopped. The fire knew my name.
Precise, personal. He sits as a refiner and purifier of silver, which means he watches the whole process. The refiner of silver sits over the crucible because silver is ruined if left too long, and the quality of the refining depends entirely on the watchfulness of the refiner. He is watching you in your fire, not from a distance, from the position of a craftsman who knows exactly what he's doing, and whose product is a specific version of you that was always underneath everything that was burned, and he will not let it go 1 degree too far, because he knows what he is trying to produce, and he's been producing it for longer than you've been in the fire. And he will sit until the silver appears, and then he will stop and look at what he made from what you gave him to work with. I came out of that season lighter than I entered it, not smaller, lighter. The difference between smaller and lighter is the difference between loss and refinement. And I came out lighter, carrying less that wasn't mine, and more that was
fire knew my name.
And the refiner was sitting,
watching
when the silver appeared.
He stopped.
The fire knew my name. The fire knew my name.
Fire knew my name.
Lighter, lighter. What remains is what was placed.
The fire knew my name.
The fire knew my name. The desert is not a metaphor. I want to be clear about that before I tell you about the river in it. The desert was real, the drought was real, the duration was real, and the river that appeared was also real. I had been in the dry season long enough to stop expecting the season to change. There is a point in the desert that the mind does something practical and dangerous. It recalibrates its expectations to match the current landscape, and I had recalibrated. I stopped expecting water, I started managing thirst. I started building a life that was organized around the absence of the thing I needed most, because a man can survive a long time in conditions not meant for survival if he manages well enough.
And I wanna tell you
what the desert taught me that water couldn't have, because this is the part nobody tells you about the desert season. It has a curriculum that the green season simply cannot teach.
water where there wasn't any.
That's Isaiah 43:19.
Water where there wasn't any.
Not instead of the desert inside it. He makes a way in the wilderness, streams in the wasteland. Not after the wasteland ends, while the wasteland is still wasteland.
Water where there wasn't any.
I found it there, I found it there. The desert taught me that my survival was not a function of my management ability. It was a function of a provision I didn't engineer. Every time I thought I had reached the end of my capacity to continue, something appeared that was not produced by my preparation. Not because I was faithful enough or managed well enough, because the one who allowed the desert was also in the desert with water that he had not yet revealed. Because the revealing required that I reach the end of what I could produce on my own. And the end of my own production is the address where the river shows up, not earlier there.
Water where there wasn't any.
Inside the desert, not instead of it. He makes a way in the wilderness,
Streams in the wasteland.
while the wasteland is still wasteland.
Water where there wasn't any.
I found it there. He says, I am doing a new thing. Even now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And I want to sit with, do you not perceive it? Because the question assumes the new thing is already happening, while the questioner is still looking at the desert. The river is there before you perceive it. The new thing is happening before you recognize it. And the question is not, will he provide? The question is, will you perceive the provision that is already underway in the landscape that still looks like desert? I'm out of the desert now, most of the way, but I go back in my memory to the specific coordinates where the water appeared. And I mark it the way you mark a place on a map that saved your life. And I tell people where to look when they're in their own desert. Not because the water will be in the same place, because the same God is in the desert, already standing at the address where water appears when a man runs out of what he can produce himself.
Water where there wasn't any.
He's already in your desert.
Water where there wasn't any.
The river is already there.
Receive it.
Receive it.
Still in the desert.
Water's already there.
He's already there.
He's already there.
He's already there.
I want to tell you about a woman who Jesus stopped and pointed at in the middle of a crowd with people giving large amounts, and she gave the smallest amount. And he said she gave more than all of them. And I've been thinking about that math for a long time. She didn't get her 2 coins as a sacrifice. As a statement, there is a difference. Sacrifice says I'm giving this, even though it costs me. Statement says I'm giving this because of what I believe about the one I'm giving it to. And what she believed was large enough to make the calculation simple, not complicated. The calculation that most of us run is, what can I give without jeopardizing the backup? The widow didn't have a backup, and she gave anyway, which means she had decided that the backup was not her job to maintain. And Jesus watched, which means the watching was the point. He wanted his disciples to see what all in looks like from a person who had the least to back it up with.
All of it, everything.
That's the widow's math.
All of it, everything.
Not a percentage.
All
She gave all she had and walked out lighter, not because she had more, because she had less to carry on.
All of it, everything.
That's the statement that stopped Jesus
Mid-crowd.
and made him point. I have run the other calculation most of my life, though what can I give without jeopardizing the backup calculation? And the backup has required a significant portion of what could have been given to other things. And I'm not preaching, I'm accounting, I'm describing the math. I've been running in the math. I've seen run by a widow with 2 coins who walked away lighter than I do after my calculated percentage. And I keep coming back to what Jesus said. She gave more than all of them, which means more is not a quantity, it's a posture, and the posture is all in, which has nothing to do with the amount in the hand. And I am trying to become a person whose math looks more like hers and less like mine. And that is a conversion that takes longer than a single offering play.
All of it, everything.
She gave all she had,
Walked out lighter.
not because she had more.
All of it, everything.
That's the statement that stopped Jesus.
Mid-crowd.
The question is not how much can you give. The question is, what does your giving say about what you believe about God's ability to be the backup? You keep maintaining yourself, because if he is who he says he is, the backup is covered. And you are free to give like a woman with 2 coins and a theology large enough to make the calculation simple.
All of it, everything.
Not because it doesn't cost, because of what you believe about the one you're giving it to. I'm working on the math, still running both calculations. Some mornings I run hers, some mornings I run mine. But I know which one Jesus pointed at in a crowd of larger gifts and called the greater offering. And I know which one I'm aiming for, even on the mornings when my own math wins.
All of it, everything.
That's the widow's math.
All of it, everything.
Still learning, still practicing it all.
All of it, everything.
Not percentage, all of it, all of it,
All of it.
all of it. I spent most of my life in pursuit of more, and I want to tell you what I found when I stopped, and why I stopped, and what enough actually looks like from the inside. More is a moving target. I learned that in the decade I chased it most effectively. Every time I reached the version of more that I was pursuing, it had moved to the next position, and I had become the man who had reached the previous more, which no longer satisfied the way it had promised to from a distance. And the distance is the trick of more. It always looks like enough from where you are, it never feels like it from where it is. And I ran out of runway before I ran out of more, which is the grace that stopped me, not wisdom. Exhaustion, and exhaustion is sometimes the most merciful teacher available.
Enough is already here.
It took me years to say
Enough is already here.
I learned it the hard way. Philippians 4:11, I have learned past tense of a hard present tense.
Enough is already here.
And the learning cost a decade that I spent on more. And I am grateful for the cost, because it taught me what the more could never teach.
Enough
Is already here. Enough is not a settling. I want to be precise about that, because the culture has convinced us that contentment is resignation, that the man who is content is simply stop believing he deserves more. Contentment is not the absence of desire, it's the presence of something that satisfies, independent of the acquiring. Paul learned contentment in abundance and the need, which means it was not a function of the circumstance, it was a function of the relationship he had cultivated with the one who is the same in both conditions. And I have been in both conditions, and I can tell you that the contentment that holds in both is available in both, and is the most valuable thing I have ever possessed in any condition.
and enough, once you find it, makes the more look like what it always was.
Which is a solution to a problem that more cannot solve.
Enough is already here.
It took me years to say
Enough is already here.
the learning cost a decade. Philippians 4:11, I have learned past tense of a hard present.
Enough is already here.
And I wouldn't trade the learning for the arriving without the cost.
Enough is already here.
This is the whole Grace Winds collection in one verse, one final account of a man who has been honest, in every volume about every broken thing and every grace that met it. And this is what grace produces in a man who stays in the work long enough. Not the monument, not the platform
Not the more.
that kept moving. Enough. The specifics settle, knowing that you are where you are supposed to be, doing what you are supposed to do with what you were given by the one who gave it for the reasons he gave it on the Tuesday that required it. And that is enough. It has always been enough. The only thing that wasn't enough was the understanding of what enough was. And now I have it, not perfectly, not permanently, as a daily practice. I learn contentment that I keep choosing, like the Jello choice and the Jelly Roll choice, and every choice and every song and every volume that brought us here to this. This is enough. This has always been enough. I sat outside this morning before the day had an agenda. Just sat with what I have and what I've been given, and the specific Tuesday that I'm in. And I said out loud, this is enough.
Enough
And I meant it,
without performance.
without consolation,
Just the plain truth.
of a man who has learned what that word actually contains.
Enough is already here.
Enough,
It's already here.
it always was. The learning took the years, and the years were worth it.
Enough. Enough.
Enough,
Enough
enough,
is already here.
grace wins.
Grace always wins.
Enough is here. I wanna talk about the no list before I talk about the yes. Cause the yes only means what it means. If you know how many no's it came after. Application that came back rejected, with the language that said we don't see a future here. The room that went quiet when I walked in a way that communicated a decision had been made before I spoke. The people who had the authority to open the door and chose not to and gave me reasons that were accurate about the version of me they were evaluating at that time, and inaccurate about the version of me they were not able to see coming. Every no on the list was spoken by someone with incomplete information about the subject they were evaluating. And I'm not angry about that, I'm simply reporting the data quality of the source,
because incomplete information
produces incomplete verdicts, and the one whose verdict is final had information that nobody in that room had access to. His yes is louder than their no. That's the math I'm standing on.
His yes is louder
than every no that came before the yes. They said no with their limited information. He said yes with all of it. His yes is louder than their no. And I am standing here as the evidence of which verdict was right. The no they gave me was based on what they saw in that season of me, and what they saw was accurate for that season. I don't dispute the data, I dispute the conclusion that the data was all there was, because God's yes was based on what was coming that they couldn't see. The yes was based on the version that the no's were going to produce by forcing me to find the road that wasn't through their door, and every door that closed redirecting me toward a door I wouldn't have found if the first one had opened, and the door I found was built for exactly the version of me that arrived at it after every note had done its work. And I wanna tell you that I understand now why the no's were necessary, not to protect me from something worse, to route me towards something better that required the longer road. His yes is louder than their no.
standing on the map.
His yes is louder.
They said no with
Limited information.
He said yes with all of it.
His yes is louder than their no. If you are collecting no's right now, I wanna tell you a few things about your no list. Every no was spoken by someone who did not have access to the information God used when he wrote your yes. Every closed door is a rude adjustment, not a verdict on your value. And the yes that's coming is calibrated for the exact version of you that the no's are currently producing, and it will fit in a way that the first door never would have.
Hold the yes,
Even in the no season,
hold the yes.
it's louder than all of them combined. I keep the no list not as wounds, as evidence of the routing that was required to get to where I am. And I look at it sometimes and I'm grateful for every door that wouldn't open, because behind it was a room that wasn't built for this version of me. And I'm only this version of me because of the no's. His yes is louder
His yes is louder
than every no.
on the list.
Yes is louder.
His yes is louder.
You are standing in his yes right now. His yes is louder.
Louder, 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 louder than their no.
His yes is louder. I want to tell you about a specific person before I tell you what that person was a picture of, because the picture only makes sense after the specific person. There was a year when the family that should have been present wasn't, for reasons that were complicated and real and still painful. In the specific way that family absence is painful, because it carries the specific disappointment of a particular expectation that nobody else can feel exactly. And in that year there was a man who showed up without being asked, without announcement, without the performance of friendship, just consistently present at the specific coordinates of my life, where my life was at its least presentable. He showed up on a Tuesday with no agenda and asked a question that nobody else had asked, with the tone that many wanted the honest answer. And I gave it to him, and he stayed. And I wanna be careful here, 'Cause I'm describing a human being who isn't perfect as humans are. But in that season, he was the most precise embodiment of something I'd read about and never fully understood until he showed it to me.
Closer than a brother.
That's the verse, Proverbs 18:24.
Closer than a brother.
He was there in real life, not metaphor. Actual Tuesday showing up, actual honest question, actual staying after the honest answer.
Closer than a brother.
And I understood the verse because I'd seen the verse walking in someone else's skin. Yeah. And after that year, and after the friendship had carried me through it, I started reading the verse differently. Not as a description of a human ideal, but as a description of something I was supposed to recognize in the human that pointed at the divine. Because the one who wrote the proverb was describing himself and the qualities he put in. A friend who showed up on a Tuesday with no agenda, and the honest question and staying. And I understood for the first time what it meant that Jesus called us friends, not servants, friends, which means showing up on Tuesday. The honest question, staying after the honest answer, are in the character of the one who wrote the friendship. In the Proverbs 18, before the friend existed. And I look at that man who
Showed up in that year,
and I think he didn't know
he was being used
as a demonstration of the most important friendship in the collection.
Closer than a brother.
Proverbs 18:24.
Closer than a brother.
He was that in real life, and he showed me what the verse was always pointing toward.
Closer than a brother.
Jesus, the original, the template, the source of every friendship that ever looked like this. I called that man this week just to say I remember the Tuesday, and I understood now what it was a picture of. And he said, I was just showing up. And I said, I know. And that's exactly what made it a picture of the one who does the same without announcement,
Without agenda.
just consistently present at the specific coordinates of wherever you are, when your life is at its least presentable. I have two friendships now that I think about
When I think about
Proverbs 18:24. One is a man who showed up on a Tuesday in a year that needed him.
one is the one
Put that quality in and shows up.
every other Tuesday.
And every day,
That is not Tuesday.
and both of them are
Closer than a brother.
and both of them were brother, and both of them were there in the year that needed them.
Closer than a brother.
Still showing up,
Closer than a
the
brother.
human and the divine.
Closer than a brother.
Jesus, first and always, closer than a brother.
Still here.
Still Tuesday,
Still showing up.
still showing up. Closer. There's someone in my life who doesn't know the amount of war that has been fought on their behalf, in rooms they've never been in. And I want to describe what that looks like from the inside. I have been carrying someone's name to God for longer than most prayers last. Most prayers last until the situation resolves, or until the prayer runs out of the specific motivation that started the prayer. I am in year 4 of this particular name, and I wanna be honest about what year 4 feels like compared to what year 1 felt like. Year 1 feels like urgency. Year 4 feels like faithfulness, and faithfulness is harder than urgency, because urgency runs on emotion, and faithfulness runs on decision. And you have to make the decision every morning in the absence of the feeling that made it feel natural in year 1. And I do it because Ezekiel 22:30 says he looked for someone to stand in the gap and found no one. And I did not want to be the found no one in that sentence for the person I've been carrying. I'll stand in the gap for you, even when you don't know I'm there. I'll stand in the
Stand in the gap for
That's what this prayer's been, year 1 through year 4, and every year it takes.
I'll stand in the gap for you,
'cause someone stood for me. In the years I wasn't named, someone else was carrying, and I'm here because of it. I'll stand in. Yeah, the gap standing looks like getting up early on the morning when the news about them was not good, and saying the name anyway before the news can set the tone for the prayer. It looks like holding the image of who they were made to be, when all the evidence is of who they currently are. And the distance between those two images is exactly the size of the gap that needs someone standing in it. It looks like bringing what you know about God into the space between the person and what they need, and staying there with both until one moves toward the other. And I watched things move that I did not move in the 4 years of this particular name. And I am more convinced than I was in year 1 that the gap standing is not passive. It is the most active thing I do. I stand in the gap for you,
stand in the gap for you,
even when you don't know I'm there. Year 4, year 5, every year it takes. I'll stand in the
gap for you,
because someone stood for me when I was the name someone was carrying. I
stand in the gap.
James 5:16 says, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. And I've been reading that verse for 4 years as a permission slip for the belief that what I do in that room with that name before the sun is up actually matters. Not as performance, not as spiritual discipline, as war. There's the specific warfare of a man who has decided that this person's outcome is worth losing sleep over, is worth year 4, is worth however many years it takes. And if they find out someday that someone was in the gap for the years they didn't know, I hope they understand that it was an obligation. It was the only reasonable response to what was done for me when I was the name and someone else prayed.
I said the name this morning
before the coffee was finished,
same as yesterday,
same as year 1.
just with more evidence
of what the standing produces, and more confidence in the one I'm standing before. I'll stand in the gap for you,
still standing, still praying,
year 4,
still here.
I'll stand in the gap for you.
Someone stood for me,
I'll stand for you. Woo! I'll stand for you. I'll stand for you. I wanna talk to the person who is at the specific place where the math stops working, where the calculation of what the next morning costs against what the next morning offers is coming out in a direction that scares you. I wanna talk specifically to you. I've been at the place you're describing more than once, and I wanna tell you what I know from the other side of the times I chose.
not today,
Not I believe it gets better, not I feel hope just now.
not today,
Not this particular decision on this particular morning. And I know that sounds small, and I wanna tell you that small is exactly the right size for where you are right now. You don't need a large decision, you need the smallest possible decision that keeps you here until tomorrow, and tomorrow you make it again. And I'm not gonna tell you that the pain goes away, because I don't know your pain. And I don't wanna minimize it with a promise I can't make. What I'll tell you is that the people who aren't here anymore didn't know what was on the other side of the day they stopped. And the people who are made the minimum viable decision enough times to find out.
not today, not yet,
That's the only decision I'm asking for.
not today, not yet.
Not I'm healed, not I'm fixed.
Just not today.
Not this morning,
Not this decision.
on this day.
Not today, not yet.
And tomorrow we make it again. Not today. I have a list that I keep of things that existed on the other side of the days I chose not today. And the list is long enough that I wanna share it with you. There is a conversation on the other side of not today that you cannot imagine from here, because the imagination is compromised by the place you're standing in. And the conversation will matter more than I can describe from this distance. There is a morning on the other side of not today that will feel different than this morning. Not because the problem's resolved, because the light hits differently on the morning you didn't think you'd see. There is a version of you on the other side of not today that the version of you standing here cannot access yet. And that version needs you to make the minimum viable decision right now. And I'm not asking for hope, I'm asking for the decision that makes tomorrow possible. Just the decision.
Not today, not yet.
Not today,
Not yet.
that's the only decision.
Not today, not yet.
Tomorrow we make it again.
Not today.
I need you to do something right now before you make any other decision. Tell one person where you are, not tomorrow, right now. One person who can be with you in this. If you don't have one person, call 988, which is the suicide and crisis lifeline, and they will be one person right now. You don't have to be okay, you don't have to have hope, you just have to make the minimum viable decision. One more time.
Not today.
Not yet, you can do that.
One more time, you can do that.
I'm on the other side, I'm on not today's, and I can accurately count. And every single one of them led to something that the version of me who was making the decision could not have imagined from that position. And I am deeply grateful for every morning that someone made the minimum viable decision and found out what was on the other side. Not today,
Not yet.
one more time.
Not today.